Well, this is the day the Lord has made, and I shall rejoice and be glad in it. Actually, what I'd like to start out with is the line from my thought for the week. And if you can join me in it, you can join me in it as well. The choices that we make are the way that we create the life that we experience day by day. Remember that one? It's a little familiar. The choices that we make are the way that we create the life that we experience day by day. Well, Lorna Bright wrote that. Actually, at the time she wrote it, she wasn't yet a minister. Today, now she is a reverend. Lorna Bright. I met her at a retreat that I went to in Boerne, Texas with Walter Starkey. And she was a musician and participated in that retreat that year, back a few years ago. And I became aware of her essence and energy, and I just so appreciate that song. It is so true. The choices that we make are the way that we create our life, moment after moment, day after day. And so today, our theme that we're talking about, our topic rather, is the choice for love. And I know that all of us, and I had it in my thought for the week, all of us are fairly aware that typically we talk about being two choices in life. That we have the choice of love, and we have the choice of fear. And as I said in the thought for the week, love is just so wonderful and thrilling and open and receptive and all of that great stuff, and fear is just the opposite, just restrictive and clenching and fearful. We all know what that is. Why do we choose fear time and time again? It's this unconscious thing, isn't it? It's really not a conscious choice. It's not something that we definitely and purposely choose to be afraid. It's just this thing that comes over us. Why? Because we forget. We forget time and time again our truth, what we are at our heart, at our core, at our essence. That's what we are, is this pure, divine love. And as I've been saying over the last couple weeks, last few weeks rather, this month, that we not only have this spirit within us that is pure, whole, and holy, we have this body, this human physical form. And so we are always kind of commingling and allowing this spirit to live through this humanness of us. And that humanness is where that fear comes from. That humanness is where that separate energy of the ego comes from. And I wanted to share with you what Walter Starkey actually said, his definition of spirit. When the spirit in which you do something is more important than the results you wish to achieve, you are spiritual. When the results are more important to you than how you go about getting them, you are material. We create our universe out of the quality of the spirit we entertain in our consciousness. The quality of the spirit that we entertain in our consciousness. Whatever we're doing, what is the spirit we're doing it in? What is the reason? What is the initiative? What is the intention behind the action? That's what we're really to look at. Because one of the major teachings of our philosophy here in Science of Mind is to be aware of what we are thinking. Because our thoughts become things. Our thoughts become our words, become our deeds, become our actions, and they end up right in our face, in our experience. And so we want to remember that we and everyone is this love in expression. That's what we are. And sometimes we forget. As we come from this unconditional love, what we're going to be coming from then, be aware, be ready for it, is that you're open and receptive. You are accepting what is. Love is allowing. Love is enlarging and opening. We want to know, am I doing that? Am I being allowing? Am I being open? Am I being available to more of this infinite spirit that I am? Or am I being calculating, complaining, comparing, contrasting, judging? Do you realize that today is the first Sunday in Lent? Easter's coming up here, guys. Lent started last Wednesday. And typically, in the Christian heritage and philosophy, many of us are used to, during the season of Lent, which is the prelude to Easter, that we give up something. Many times in our teaching, wouldn't it be lovely to give up complaining? To give up being annoyed at them. In our philosophy, as we point the finger, three are pointing back. For what we see out there is coming from within. So we always want to keep that lens clear. Keep that glass that we are looking through beautiful and pristine to see the truth. I was rereading, I've been pulling books out from my shelf, because our theme this month is on love. And so I pulled out Gerald Jampolsky's book, Love is Letting Go of Fear. And he says, love asks no questions. Its natural state is one of extension and expansion, not comparison and judgment. Doesn't it just make you breathe easier? Literally, when we are in fear, it's hard to breathe. You're constricted. That's not our natural state. Excuse me. Our natural state is one of openness. Okay, I'm going to take a little drink here. And yet, as this humanness experience that we're in, we do have this ego. We have this ego that many times is historically telling us that we're small, that we're not enough, that I'm going to keep you safe. I'm going to do all this for you if you follow my lead. And we need to remember to put that aside. One of my favorite poems from Chavez is entitled, Once a Young Woman Said to Me. That poem says, once a young woman said to me, Chavez, what is the sign of someone who knows God? I became very quiet and looked deep into her eyes and then replied, my dear, they have dropped the knife. Someone who knows God has dropped the cruel knife that most so often they use upon their tender self and others. They have dropped the cruel knife. That is the individual that knows God. So I'm asking you this week to just observe. You don't need to put yourself down or, whatever. But observe when you begin to pick up the knife. And when you are beginning to use it on yourself or others, if you join me in our challenge of letting go of complaining over the next few weeks, you won't pick up the knife. Or you'll catch yourself. You'll catch yourself and put that knife down quickly. Da 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 dun 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 dun. Any of you had a change in your schedule lately? I have. I've been turning the TV on and seeing who's flying down the hill on those slopes, or who's spinning around, either be on their snowboards or their skis or on their ice skates. And you know what dawned on me? I haven't seen. You know how they do the jump? How they come down that really long? Have they done that yet? I missed it. They did it. Oh darn it! So, but I love watching these Olympics. You know, they come once every 4 years, and I love the backstories. I love the way that you get to see what this tiny little person, you know, when they were 8 years old, made the commitment that this is what I'm going to be when I grow up. I'm going to get that gold, you know, and they make that commitment. Erich Fromm in The Art of Loving was written in 1956, and he said that there is a practice of love. And he says that any art requires discipline, concentration, and patience. And so as we look at those athletes, we're recognizing their discipline, their concentration, and their patience. It says discipline. I should never be good at anything if I do not do it in a disciplined way. Anything I do only if I am in the mood may be a nice and amusing hobby, but I shall never become a master in the art. Equate this to your art of loving. Disciplined in the art of loving, it doesn't mean you do it just when you're in the mood. Concentration. To be concentrated means to live fully in the present, in the here and the now, and not to think about the next thing that needs to be done while I am doing something right now. You watch all of those athletes, and they are in the moment. They know exactly which turn and every iota of their body what's doing. And we speak time and time again of that value of being in the moment, in the now. Not back yesterday or not wondering what's going on tomorrow. Be here now. And then the third practice is to be patient. Some of the synonyms of patience are persistence, a lack of complaint, serenity, endurance, concentration. All of these things allow us to be patient with what is, allowing us to know that right here and right now, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. You're right where you're supposed to be. It's all well, it's all good. And so I'm challenging you, as again, I'm sure most of you will continue to be watching these Olympics. Let's see yourself on the podium of life. What gold medal are you going for? All of us have dreams. All of us have desires. All of us have this internal nudge that is love, that is infinite, that tells us, hey, what about if? And many times we squelch it. Many times we'll say, oh, no, that's not for me now. I want you to listen to it. this coming week. I want you to think about what is it that is within me that I have the ability right now, just the inkling, that I can pursue, that I can discipline myself, that I can have patience with, that I can concentrate on how can I bring this infinite love that I am more into expression in this lifetime. We are infinite beings. It's going to nod you, it's going to prod you, it's going to poke you time and time again. So what you want to remember is to be open and receptive and allow. Many of us have been doing our after service the last few weeks, Michael Beckwith's visioning CDs. We've been listening to those. And this week, we will be having the third stage, which is the allowing. We've gone through the victim stage, and that's poor pitiful me. You know, how could anybody else do this to me? How could those people do that to me? And as we grow in our maturity, in our spiritual maturity, then we move into knowing that my thoughts are creative. And I can then be the manifester. I can draw to me what I want to have drawn to me. But in every stage, you have to give up something to move to the higher stage. And so as we move from the manifester stage, which is great, I've got some control now, we have to give that control. Because we're going to be moving into the through me stage. We're going to be moving into being the vessel for this infinite being to flow through us. So that's what we're going to be listening to today. All of us are Olympians, I believe, in our own right. And it takes listening to that inner voice and not the world so much. It was Roger Bannister was the first man who broke 4-minute mile. And he said, doctors and scientists said that breaking the 4-minute mile was impossible, that one would die in the attempt. Thus, when I got up off of the track after collapsing at the finish line, I figured I was dead. So don't let other people set your limits. Don't believe that this is all I can do, because we are infinite and unlimited in this love that is prompting us. And again, choice after choice. Am I going to choose the love and yes, go out there and try to do my best? Or am I going to be fearful and hold back and not put my toe in the water? I love the story of the high school basketball coach. He was attempting to motivate his players, and he wanted to get them to pursue and give themselves motivation throughout the season. So halfway through the season, he stood up there and he told the team, "Did Michael Jordan ever quit?" And the team shouted, "No." He said, "And what about the Wright brothers? Did the Wright brothers ever quit?" And they yelled out, "No." And he said, "What about Muhammad Ali? Did he ever quit?" And they said, "No." And he said, "What about Elmer McAllister? Did he ever quit?" And they were silent, and one of the students tentatively said, "Coach, we don't remember. Who was Elmer McAllister again?" "Of course you don't remember. He quit." We need to have perseverance. We need to have patience. We need to have discipline. To trust that this spiritual being that we are knows what it is doing. And the way to know that is you got to go into the silence. You got to turn off the world. And you got to go within. That's That's where your truth is. That's where your power is. That's where your love is. So you need to get to know it. You need to have faith in it. You need to be able to trust it wholeheartedly. We've been listening to these CDs, and I asked them to stop it last week so that I could write down Michael Beckwith's favorite affirmation. And I made a note of it, and several of us in the room did. I am now available for more good than I have ever experienced, realized, manifested, or imagined in my life. I am now available for more good than I have ever experienced, realized, manifested, or imagined in my life. It takes letting go of control. It takes letting go of fear. It takes trusting. It takes asking the right questions. The master teacher told us, go within and ask, knock, and the door will be open. It takes us stepping forward and asking, what is it that this infinite spirit has for me this day? How can I reveal more of this infinite self that I am? You have your choice every day, every moment. Your choice of fear or your choice of love. And I know that I have all these sane people in front of me. Nobody here is out of their mind. Who would be out of their mind to choose fear? No. We are consciously choosing that wholehearted love that we are. And you know what happens? Life is peaceful. I honestly believe that that really is what all of us are grasping for, is just peace. Peace and serenity really are ours when we drop that cruel knife and just love ourselves. Because when we love ourselves, that's what we'll see out in front of us all the time. So I want you, every one of you, to go for the gold. Go for the gusto. See yourself on that podium of life, wherever it is, whatever that vision that you have, see yourself as it. And know that love will guide you, love will lead you, love will prompt you through it all. You can trust it. That's what happens when you choose love. And so it is. Namaste.